The ISODEC Integrated Social Development Center, in partnership with Africa Rising and the Africa Water Justice Network, recently organized a stakeholders meeting to address the pressing issue of water justice in Ghana. The event was themed Strengthening Water Justice in Ghana, Uniting to Defend Water as a Human Right. The event brought together various stakeholders aimed to emphasize the importance of potable and safe water as a fundamental human right rather than a privilege. Executive Director of ISODEC, Mr. Sam Danse, highlighted that government investment in water has been insufficient over the years, with only $429 million allocated in 2024. Meanwhile, $1.1 billion is required annually to meet the country's water needs.
ISODEC actually started the water campaign as far back as 2002, and then it actually died off. Water is life, and water is livelihood. If you don't have access to water, there is no way you can actually live. 70% of the body is actually made up of water. Apart from that, most of the communicable diseases that we actually get as citizens is actually from water. Water is used for food. It's used for several other things. And for that matter, we in ISODEC and other civil society organizations see water as a right. It's not a privilege. And for that matter, we don't see why water should be commodified. It's a right that people actually have. But we realize that over the years in this country, government investment in water has been woefully inadequate. I'm actually surprised that for 2024, government invested $429.5 million in water. But we actually require about $1.7 billion annually up to 2030 to be able to actually meet the SDGs. And for that matter, we think government should actually put water as a priority as far as investments is concerned in this country. If you look at the investment they actually currently do, it's just around less than 1% of GDP, which is actually unacceptable. So this meeting is to actually bring all sheets of opinions, all actors together for us to actually revive the Water Justice Network in Ghana, so that can actually engage and influence government to make sure that they actually invest in the water sector in this country. If people have access to safe drinking water, it implies some of the health issues that they are actually confronted with will be addressed. It implies that women will not walk several miles in a day just to look for water. It implies school children will not go several miles to look for water, and for that matter, educational outcomes will be affected. So water is central in everything that we do. And I think, or we think, as a coalition, we should actually come together to actually fashion our strategies by which you can start engaging duty bearers and other actors to ensure that water is actually life and livelihood going forward. The responsibility lies on government. We have heard about Galamsey and how it's actually impacting not only water, but the entire biodiversity of the state. And that is actually why we actually even think that this call for an emergency is very, very necessary. Government have got all the tools to be able to actually stop this Galamsey. And for instance, if you take the Carrier Act that they are talking about, I mean, the government actually promised that it's going to repeal it. Why should they be talking about it, actually reviewing it? I think that's unacceptable. We think they should actually do the needful. Government is there for the people, and they are there because of us. And everybody in every household actually take water. Water is life. Without water, you can't live. So if others are actually profiting from water by actually polluting our water bodies just to make profit and move away with it, and others are actually being affected and infected by water because it's destroyed, I think the government should actually take a very serious approach towards addressing this issue of Galamsey as far as the pollution of water bodies is concerned. I think we will actually try to work with several networks and coalitions to actually make sure we actually engage the parliamentary committee responsible for water and sanitation, and to see how we can actually influence government budgeting processes.
Mr. Leonard Chankwoti, coordinator for Africa Water Justice, has spoken out about the insufficient water supply, which is affecting many communities in Ghana.
How we can make visible the individual suffering of people when it comes to water. It's become normal for a lot of people. It's not normal not to have water with you or to have kids traveling long distances to find water. I mean, no, it's not. So we have to get to a situation where we have increased household connection. We have to increase household connection. That should be the new yardstick. Because if you look at many of these new communities, the Pokwasi areas, the Gondomases, and the situation is terrible. And the public health dimension of that even makes it much more scary. Because what is the source of water for the Hausa cocoa woman? But then people are consuming that, and you don't have public health officials scrutinizing all of that. So we have to take water financing very seriously. We need to resource the Ghana Water Company Limited more and more, such that this crisis, this water crisis that we have, could be upended. Issue of galamsey and water, I think it has to do with the profit motive, which has become the overriding interest in almost everything that we have. If you look at even ordinary household water supply, the issue is that some people want to make money of that, make profits of that. So that's why government is redrawing so that the private sector will have an opportunity to supply water and make profit. It is the same profit motive and profit interest that is driving people into forests, tree zones, into water bodies, and basically ravaging everything in their sight. So we have to get to a point where we are able to prioritize criteria such as human rights, human needs, and putting the needs and interests of the individual at the very top of the priority list. So the reason why we build or build water systems is not to make profit, but then to get water to households. If we are able to internalize this value and thinking, even within our policy framework, then we should be able to deal with some of these issues. Because now the profit interest is the overriding factor, even in basic social services. Once this becomes a principle that this particular activity is hurting livelihoods of people, it's hurting the very health of the public, and so we do not need it. Sure, action. But then, if that is not the issue, and revenue realization, profit is the case, then you have it free for all, and the people are the mercy of the perpetrators. I think the fight for water justice, being it access to safe potable water for everybody, or clean river water bodies and safe forestry. I mean, it's the how we ensure this is the responsibility of every Ghanaian, including religious leaders, and the kind of position that they occupy makes them a very important stakeholder. So using the various churches, using the various mosques, preaching to their congregation could go a long way. but then it will take some very strategic, comprehensive solution which looks at what will be the alternative livelihoods for these people once they get out of the mining pits. All of these things needs to be coordinated, but then that should not stop the religious leaders from also adding their voices. But then we need that strategic plan that takes people off or out of the pits and into very gainful employment situations.
Thank you for watching Nation One TV. Kindly subscribe for more news updates.